Man, what a heck of a day. What a beautiful fish. I am having the time of my life today. This is fun, dude. Man, you are catching them like crazy today, dude. What color are you throwing? I got this black worm. I'm not getting a bite on this thing. Man, I noticed you weren't catching nothing today. The color I'm throwing today is green pumpkin. Well, shoot, dude, I think I've got that color. Let me change real quick. This one, these ones, no, that's close. Well, I wasn't telling you the whole truth, actually. It's green pumpkin sapphire. Well, okay, I mean, I think I do got watermelon red flake. I mean, that's got some flake. It's probably similar to yours. Buddy, I'm telling you this for your own good. If your lure does not have that little bit of blue glitter in it, I'm telling you, buddy, you are not getting one sniff from a bass today. Are you sure it's gotta be that exact color? I mean, do the fish really care? Yep. You know, man, maybe you are right, but I just feel like watermelon red is probably close enough, so I'm gonna throw this. All right, man, give it a shot. I'm just telling you, you're not gonna have no luck. Hey, Jim Bob, what's good? How's the wife doing? The kids? Oh, they're doing good? Good. Dude, you are never gonna believe what Johnny is throwing today. He thinks that he can catch the same amount of fish on watermelon red as I can on green pumpkin. I know, that's what I told him. Whatever. I tell you what, man, this kid is never gonna learn it. Oh my gosh, I got one. I think I've got one. Hey, Jim Bob, hey, hold that thought. I gotta call you back, but yeah, let me call you back. Dude, that's a nice one. Oh my gosh, what the? Oh, here we go. Let me bring that one in. What the heck? Oh my gosh, how'd you do that? There we go. Look at that fish, dude. That is awesome. I could have sworn, man, the fish were only biting green pumpkin sapphire. I just listened to this YouTube guy that I watch, and he told me something about color selection that I'm never gonna forget. Oh yeah, and what was that?
That in the majority of bass fishing situations, there's really only a few main color groups you need in your tackle box. So stop being so fancy with it. It really doesn't matter. But how do you pick the best one that maximizes your chance at getting bit and catching fish? My name's Tyler, and let's talk about it. Well, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Tyler's Real Fishing. My goal here on this channel is to help you guys become better and more efficient bass anglers, no matter where you live in the country, no matter if you're a bank angler, kayak, john boat, or a bass boat angler. I want my videos to apply to you guys. And as always, no matter where I'm filming my video, whether I'm filming it on the bank or in my bass boat, it can apply to all of you guys out there to teach you these topics to help you catch more fish. As I said in the intro, I truly believe, even if you want to be the most efficient bass angler possible, you don't need to specialize in certain individual colors here and there. For the majority of anglers in the majority of bass fishing scenarios, you only need a certain few color groups in your tackle box to allow you to catch fish in every single scenario. I'm going to talk to you guys about color, what color is, how fish relate to color, and of course all the conditions that you're dealing with on the water, whether it's water clarity, temperature, time of the year, that all bundle together in a fishing day to influence what the most efficient colors for you to throw are going to be, because the same color is not going to work everywhere, and the same color is not going to work oftentimes in the same body of water from day to day, but that does not mean we have to complicate it. I do not like complicating bass fishing. So let's hop into talking point number one, which is what are the main two groups, in my opinion, of fishing lure colors. The first of those being your natural colors. The way that I define natural, the way that was taught to me and the way that I've seen other pros talk about it, is anything that is relatively translucent or looks natural in color. Now, I know that that can be kind of a broad definition, but I more take the translucent side of things. So if you hold up a soft plastic or a lure up to the sun and there is some kind of a see-throughness, if that's even a word, some kind of translucent properties to that lure, that's what I consider a natural lure. So any of your browns, green pumpkins, watermelons, really any of those that have variations. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to open up Tackle Warehouse right now. We're going to go to what I think is one of the most overhyped color companies out there, Zoom. We're going to go to the Zoom Lizard, and I'm going to name off all of the colors they have that I think are going to be natural type colors. California 420, Chartreuse Pepper Red, Chartreuse Pumpkin, Cotton Candy, Electric Shad, Gooseberry, Grape Red Glitter, Green Flash, Green Pumpkin Orange, Green Pumpkin Purple, Green Pumpkin Purple Green, Green Pumpkin Red, Green Pumpkin Magic, Mossy Pumpkin, Pumpkin Chartreuse. As you can tell, it's outrageous how many colors we have. And that's just listing the ones that I'm gonna put into the naturals category. It's obscene how many colors there are, and to be honest, we're gonna talk about this here in a second. They're not that different. So that is category 1, in my opinion, one of the most useful soft plastic and even hard bait. We're going to talk about the differences in colors between these two categories of hard baits and soft baits, but for now we're talking about soft baits in those natural colors. Category 2 is going to be what I call silhouettes. So anything that does not have any translucent properties, when light hits it, it does not go through, and if it does, it may be very, very limited light penetration. That's going to be your blacks, your blues, your June bugs, although some June bugs can verge into the natural category. Your straight whites and straight blacks, anything that when sun hits it causes a silhouette. That is what I'm going to be calling the second category of lure colors. I get asked all the time, Tyler, what is the best color that I should throw for XYZ situation? You come at me with a pond, you send me a picture, you say this is what it looks like, this is the conditions we have today. What is the right color for me to choose? And so the rest of this video is going to be taking these two categories and trying to apply them in sometimes specific ways, but really in the most general way for every scenario out there, what the best color for you guys would be. I'm going to go through kind of the selection process that I have in order of most important to least important. So most important thing that I think about when selecting color, no matter if it's smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, whatever, you could even apply this to crappie, bluegill, panfish, anything like that, any game fish. The biggest and first thing that I look at when selecting lures is going to be water clarity. Water clarity, for lack of a fancy definition, is really just how far can you see in the water. When you stick your finger, when you stick your rod tip, your lure in the water, how far can you see with optimal light conditions? Now, there's a reason I included optimal light conditions in that definition, and that is because, let's just say you have a 10-foot water visibility when the sun is shining. But when there's no sun shining or the sun is super low, maybe it's sunrise, sunset, you don't have nearly the same water clarity or water visibility as you would with high sun conditions. So water clarity not only changes day by day depending on rainfall and wind and how the ecosystem is stirred up, but it can also change based on how much light penetration you have. And so the color lures that I throw during sunrise will most often, even though the water clarity technically hasn't changed, the particles in the water that cause it to have a certain clarity hasn't changed, the water visibility and clarity does change as the day progresses. And so oftentimes I will choose different lures based on the lighting conditions, as we'll talk about here in a second. But it really all boils down to your water clarity. The second most important thing when it comes to selecting your lures is going to be light penetration, as I just talked about. That works very closely with your water clarity. Light penetration affects how far the fish can see, how far you can see, and of course, how visible your lure is in that water. If it's overcast, the fish will not be able to see your lures as well or from as far away. And if it's super bright outside, those fish are either going to have to go deeper because they don't have eyelids, and we'll talk about deep water here in a second, or they will be able to see your lures very, very clearly in that clear water or shallow water scenario, and so that's going to determine which colors you throw. Don't worry, I will get to which colors I throw in these here in a second. I just want to talk about the process I go through before I go into these colors. I love taking a sciencey approach to the channel, so I apologize if sometimes TRF is kind of a rambling channel, but I just want to make sure I get all the information out there so y'all understand the topic as best as you possibly can. The third thing that I look at when selecting colors is how deep I am fishing. Much like water clarity and light penetration, the deeper you go in the water, the less light can penetrate into that water, and oftentimes the more sediment you're going to find in that water. Like if you take, for example, you scoop your hand through the water near the top of the water surface, you're not going to find a whole lot of stuff in the water, but I guarantee you, and I've seen it personally, if you dive down in the water, the closer you get to that dirt near the bottom, the more it's going to be stirred up in the less clarity you're going to have down there at the bottom. And that all aids to the fish not really being able to see a whole lot. Now, one more thing about water depth is that because sunlight cannot get down the deeper you go in the water column, that also means there's not a whole lot of color down there on the bottom, especially when it comes to dirty water. And I saw a video out there that they put a bunch of PVC, I'll probably find it and link it in the video description. Somebody put a camera with a bunch of spray painted pieces of PVC pipe, and they lowered it down in the water. And one thing you'll see in that video is that every color, from greens, pinks, purples, blues, everything basically just becomes an incredibly muted version of itself. All the flash it had is gone, all of the brightness it had is gone, and a lot of things just turn into purples and browns. And I don't really have any science to back this, but I believe that that is why colors like Morning Dawn, Junebug, purple work so well on a drop shot or a worm in deeper water, and that is because those colors create the most contrast down there. Category number 4, and in my opinion, the least important of all of these, now of course they work together in conjunction as one big old pie, but the least important thing for me to factor in when it comes to selecting the right lure color for the situation is going to be matching the hatch. And I know for years and years we've all said match the hatch, match the hatch, match the hatch, and it's important. But it's really only important in clear water when those fish are using, for the majority of them, their sight to feed. If a fish has to stalk something down from a long ways away, look at it and decide, is that realistic enough? Yes, it is. I'm going to eat it. That's really only applicable in crystal clear water. Of course, it sounds good to always say that you want to throw the lure that closely matches what those fish are eating. So whether they're eating threadfin shad, bluegill, crappie, crawfish, frogs, it sounds great in theory to say that you want to throw something that matches that, and sometimes that's important. But for the vast majority of cases, the previous 3 categories we talked about are going to factor a lot more into your color lure selection and matching the hatch wheel. Of course, it's important, but not nearly as important as the other 3. And so by taking these 2 categories, your natural colors and your silhouette colors, and taking all 4 of these categories and putting them together, what colors do you actually need in your tackle box to be an efficient angler no matter where you live all across the country? And I know that there's going to be people out there that argue this and say that, oh, I found this color works really well for me. And honestly, that's kind of the great thing about fishing, is that you can be confident in whatever you want to throw. But for me, in the vast majority of cases, I only need a few relatively natural colors and a few silhouettes. No matter if I'm talking hard baits, jerk baits, crankbaits, jigs, or I'm talking soft baits like worms, soft plastic jerk baits, drop shot lures, Ned rig baits, I really only need a few, and if you've watched the channel for a while, you know what these are. When it comes to my natural baits, the only ones you need are going to be green pumpkin, watermelon red, in some form of lighter purple. And I know that in that category, as we talked about and showed with the Zoom lizard, there are so many different colors out there. There's green pumpkin, this. They all have different kinds of flakes. We'll talk about flake here in a second, flake and chrome, and how sunlight affects those. But those categories, in my opinion, are way too specific. You don't need green pumpkin, purple, black, blue flake. You just need green pumpkin. Because those fish, I'm just telling you, we give the fish too much credit. They're not that smart. You look at any pro fishing coverage, you look at any YouTubers out there, really, you go to any local pond, whatever's sold out at the local Bass Pro Shops is going to be, the majority of time, those 3 basic lures: watermelon red, green pumpkin, and some kind of light purple. And now that I think about it, there's actually one more natural color that I'm going to throw in there, and that's going to be totally clear or almost translucent. That's for your shad-shaped worms, your jerk baits, your crankbaits that you throw in really, really clear water. I'll also include that as my 4th color that I take with me anywhere in the country. And when it comes to the silhouettes, the only 3 colors that I throw are black, black and blue, or I guess you could just say blue. So black, blue, or straight white. Every company out there, of course, wants to make their lures look more realistic. So this here is a white KVD 1.0 square bill, and it is straight white, but it's got a little bit of black, a little bit of gray with 1 black dot on there. But to be honest, I'd probably catch just as many fish on straight white as I would this. I would say, for the majority of colors, they're meant to catch fishermen, not catch fish. I'm just telling y'all, when it comes to the silhouette type colors, the reason why they are keying in on that lure is because it causes a silhouette, it causes a shadow, and they can find it. If you're dealing with relatively dirty water, I'm talking about like 2-foot visibility, sometimes those bass probably can't even tell what color they're looking at. They just want to be able to find it, use their lateral lines, use their senses to track down that lure and eat it. And so the better chance you can give them at finding that lure, the better chance you're going to get at catching those fish. Now, I understand the argument of, well, what about in my specific body of water, we have gobies, or we have this, that leads to this color working better than anything else. And I'm going to say you are probably correct. I know a few times in my life I have found that a straight black worm worked in really clear water on a shaky head. I don't know why, but it did. I have found that in Minnesota, a chartreuse head on my jig heads, when it comes to just regular watermelon or green pumpkin worms, a chartreuse head works better than a color matched head to that worm. Why does the contrast lend me more bites than the jig head that matches the worm? I don't know. There are certain situations that you will find there's a funky color or some off-the-wall color, maybe the other anglers aren't throwing, is going to catch fish more. But I'm willing to bet my entire boat, all the money in my savings, that color really doesn't matter. The only main colors that I worry about on the bottom of my topwater frogs are black and white. I don't worry about making sure the frog can match the hatch. I just want those fish to be able to find the lure, and oftentimes either having a very natural colored lure, like the clear translucent type, or a really silhouette-y lure, all depending on those 4 categories we talked about, is going to lead you to catch more fish. Now, jumping back to a few things that I don't think I touched well enough on. Sunlight, of course, will react with what you have on or in your lure. So let's take these 2 jerkbaits for example. This jerkbait right here has a color that has a lot of chartreuse on the bottom, an entire chrome finish, of course a little bit translucent, but an entire chrome finish, very flashy eyes, and a chrome purple back. Then you take this jerkbait right here. That is almost completely translucent, has a little bit of muted colors, the top is muted. Even though the stripe is chartreuse, it's not even like a shiny stripe at all. So when you compare these 2 to each other, and you see how the light from the sun reflects off of them, they are very different in sunlight. So when it comes to light penetration in both clear water and dirty water, you're going to have a little bit of a different reaction on your lures depending on what you have on or in them. So let's take, for example, soft plastics. If you were to throw a straight watermelon or a straight green pumpkin, and then contrast that to a green pumpkin with some kind of flakiness, let's say a gold flake, red flake, blue flake, when sunlight hits that, it's going to cause some kind of slight glitter, slight glimmer shine to it that may trigger fish to bite. But the whole goal of this video is me telling y'all that in the vast majority of cases, fish are not going to care about that. I'm not going to discount those of y'all out there that have certain colors that you love throwing a ton of confidence in. That's great. I encourage you to continue to throw those and catch fish on them. But if you're out there and you're standing at the Bass Pro Shop's wall and you're trying to decide, wow, gosh darn, are all these colors the same? They kind of look the same. I guess I'll pick this one, this one. Don't think too deep into it. It really doesn't matter. If it fits into those categories that I talked about, the natural colors, the silhouette colors, and if you follow the 4 in the naturals and the 3 in the silhouettes, you're going to catch fish all around the country, no matter where you go. Stop trying to complicate it. So again, as a quick recap, if all of those conditions, I keep doing like this with my hand because that's the pie that we're making here of the 4 conditions that I look for. If those conditions lend to the water clarity, whether it's because of visibility, because of sunlight penetration, if that water visibility is lower, you're going to want to use more colors that have a silhouette, that have a presence in the water. I love using that word presence, that can alert those fish, this thing is here, it's in their space, they need to come find it and eat it. And as soon as you work your way from that dirtier water to that cleaner water, you're going to have to focus more on those natural colors. Don't complicate it, but definitely know that when water is clear, fish are going to want something a little bit more natural in most cases, and when the water is dirty, they're going to want something more silhouetted in most cases. So that is enough talking. I say we hop back on the water and see some fish catches. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, and of course, my goal as always is to help you guys catch more fish, encourage you to throw new lures, and of course, give you confidence to catch fish on those lures in your tackle box. My name's Tyler, and we'll see you guys out there on the water.
That's a fish. That's a fish. I knew it. I knew it. Hit it on the fall. That's a big one. Whatever the heck that is, it's big. Whatever the heck this fish is right here, it's big. I think it's a big bass. Gosh, if it is a big bass, I wish I had brought my net. What is it? He's got me in some grass. It's fighting like a bass, not like a pike. It is fighting like a bass. Come on. Oh, out of that grass, please. Out of that grass. Good thing is around here the grass is not too thick, so you can easily slowly pull him out. Hey, and he's got me in some grass, which is great. Oh, it's a bass. It's a big bass. It's a Minnesota monster. Sheesh. Wow. Don't get me in the prop, please. I don't think I have this fish by much. Does not look very well hooked. I'm gonna get him in though. I'm gonna get him in. Yes, 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 folks. That right there is a 5-pounder. Oh my gosh, I got him corner of the mouth. Oh, he was barely hooked. Barely hooked on the jig worm. And look at that Minnesota bass right there. That's a 5-pounder. Wow. This one's going in the live well, folks. Gonna get a picture of that one later. Holy cow. Whoo, hoo, 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 hoo. That's exciting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, folks. Hit it on the fall, baby. There's one. I'm bringing this fish in. Come on. You're not as big as your buddy. You're a chunky boy, but you're not very big. But hey, I'll take you. You are beautiful. And you bit the jig worm in some offshore grass. Thank you. There's one. There we go. Yes, popped it out of the grass and he ate it. Oh, that is such a fun bite. Such a stinking fun bite. And that's a nice one too. Man, oh man, this is cool. Hello, hello, hello. And bring it up in here. Let's go. 2.5 pounder on the old jiggy worm. How's that lighting looking? Well, a little blown out, but you know what? That's okay. When you're catching fish like that, on the little jig worm. Jiggy, jiggy, jiggy. Fishy, fishy, fishy. Oh gosh, no way, no way. A big and ate it on the fall. A big and ate it on the fall. Literally my first cast with JJ's Magic dipped on the tail. Gosh, that's gotta be a coincidence. That's gotta be a coincidence. Maybe not, but I think this one's big. He's getting me in all kinds of grass. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. This might be my new PB Minnesota largemouth. Holy crap. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Wow, wow. Oh, holy cow. Holy cow, this thing is strong. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Wow. That's big, y'all. That is big. That is big. That is big. That's a big one. That's a big one. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That thing might go, I don't know if my PB Minnesota, but it's big. Keep the pressure on. These jigworm fish, y'all, are not hooked very well sometimes. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. It's not my PB, but it's another 5-pounder. Oh my goodness. Look at that fish right there, folks. Jigworm, first cast after dipping it in JJ's Magic. I don't know if that's the deal, but it definitely didn't hurt. Wow, that's almost a 5-pounder. Maybe a little bit under. Nah, I got him. I got him on the shaky head. That's awesome. He literally swam right to it and ate it. Very cool, okay. So the cruisers are catchable as well. And man, they are so hard fighting in this lake. It's crazy. Bring it in and they're all chunky, even the little ones. This guy didn't even look that big in the water. Come on, there we go. And that's a 2-pounder right there. Wow. Little shaky head got him, little Strike King heavy, not heavy finesse, fat baby finesse worm. Wow. Okay, bud, thank you. Ding on the app. Oh gosh. Oh, gee. I saw that fish cruising and I flipped right to him and backed away. That was cool. Oh, just keep coming around and come in the boat. Wow. Now that is a skinny fish. That is not near the quality. If this fish was the same thickness, he would be 4.5 pounds, but he is skinny as a board. That is so cool. These fish are in such a bluegill chasing mood that you throw something after them and they will come eat it. Well, you know what? That's 2 fish not on the dock and 1 fish on the dock. Pardon me? Is it good? Yeah, it's really skinny. Yeah? It's like malnourished.
All right. I'll try to feed him some more.
Yeah, go for it. Some guy just came out of his porch. I guess that was his pet. And he was like, I'll feed that fish some more. Gosh. And there's one on it, man. Well, maybe, no, this is my last dock because it's the last one in the row. Gosh, they are so hard fighting. It's not even like these fish are giants. They're just, oh, the jig fell out. They're just hard fighting fish. I see all my shallow cruisers though. Might be able to get one of them on the shaky head. Got him. That is so awesome. They are just a sucker for this thing. Well, if I want to catch just a bunch of fish today, I go shallow with a shaky head and I give this thing a dangle. Bring it in. But that is not what I want to do. I want to catch bigger fish, not smaller fish. They can't resist this thing though, let me tell you. I will have the exact head of the shaky head that I'm using linked below. It's my favorite shaky head, jig head, because they're not all the same. I have a lot of confidence in this one. Ding.